Welcome, Horror Fam, to HHN 365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Duff, and as always, I'm here with my co-hosts, Jess and Jonathan.
Hello.
What's up?
Hi. That was boring. You guys are lame. All right.
I'm sorry, we just did this.
Shh, we don't break the fourth wall.
Sorry. We didn't do this before.
No, never. Anyways, follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at HHN365, and our TikTok at HHN365pod. Also, join our Discord server. The link is down in the description, or you can find it on our social media, on our link tree, all over the place. And check out our merch. Again, we do have a great merch line that we just dropped at Pots and Pens Arts. Potter designed this amazing Bugs Eaten Alive inspired shirt. I honestly think it is the best design we've ever had. And then also, if you love the Cult of H, we got a shirt for you. We combine Q is for Quan, Quan is for Quandary, the H from Hellblock, and it makes for a badass shirt and an even better brand new HHN 365 logo that is definitely not going to be permanent. And leave us a voicemail to join us here on the show at 407-906-4134. And we got some updates, and this is going to be the last time you hear about this update. Live trivia at Half Barrel Beer Project, just down the road from Universal Orlando Resort. Same time we did it last year, or same place we did it last year. Definitely not the same time, because this one's on a Saturday. It's going to be April 8th at 8 p.m. We do recommend showing up no later than 7:30 if you really want to stretch at 7:45. But it's a smaller capacity venue, and last year, I want to say 15 to 20 minutes before the event, it was already standing room only. So just keep that in mind. And if you were lucky enough to put in your pre-order by the 29th of March, that means we will have your merch for you at Live Trivia if you put it in the notes. If not, we already shipped it to you. I'm sorry. If you want to try to give us a DM and see if we have not shipped it yet, we'll see if we can bring it to you. And hope for the best in that situation. Otherwise, we do have all our merch will be available for sale there, and we can work it out regardless. And then we have been teasing that there's a nice little surprise we have coming for this event, and that's that we have a specially brewed beer for us.
Yeah, an HHN 365 beer collab with Half Barrel.
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
It is insane to say. Like, we actually chose what it will be, what the name is, everything about it. It's
the color.
The color. Half Barrel just brewed it.
Yeah.
Stay tuned later this week for the exact release. For every detail about the beer, just know we actually kind of sort of brewed a beer.
Yeah. So come to trivia so you can try the beer.
And it's going to be a half barrel, so it shouldn't last too long either. So if you do want to get your hands on it, that might be your only opportunity. Just pointing that out. An HHN 365 beer. You're probably not as excited as we are, but we're very fucking excited.
Oh, yeah. We're super excited. We also love Half Barrel, obviously. So, it's just really cool.
It really living dreams here now.
Yeah, we're geeking out over here. If you guys want to come try it, if not, just come to trivia with us. Jonathan still can't drink it anyway, so.
Hey, you know what? I get close to look at it. So
you do. And we made it a looker just for you, Jonathan.
It's beautiful. It's going to be gorgeous. I know it.
I love it.
All right. Well, on today's show, to be honest, we kind of stole this concept. And by stole, I mean we're also going to have the person we stole it from on the episode. So it's more like borrowing with permission. We saw a tweet from Natalie over at HHN Countdown. That's at Countdown HHN. Basically saying, HHN fans, what got you interested in HHN? So it's not the typical question of when was your first event or, favorite house or, those kind of questions. But what got you interested in it in the first place? Why did you end up going? And I know some people, they stalked it for years before they went, and some people literally got dragged to the event. So us and some guests are going to go over what got us interested. But first, of course, we're going to go over to Jonathan with news and rumors.
Well, hello there. It is me, Jonathan from the future, here to talk to you guys about some news and rumors for Halloween Horror Nights. And let's first start this thing off with some updated construction Going right to Hollywood now for HHN Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights, they have a lot of updates regarding construction. The first thing being in Parisian Courtyard. The house in that location has a facade built up, which we talked about before. A structure is being built for the facade, but it is getting really tall and really wide, and it's looking like it's going to be something really massive for that location, which is very exciting. And while there's no real way right now to tell what it can be, we're still dealing with very basic structures and lots of wood, so you can't really tell what the facade is shaping up to be. I will say that a lot of people have commented and talked about that it might look like some sort of building. So maybe, I know on the Horror Night Nightmares spec map, they rumored that this was the location that the monster's house would be. So maybe this is something like the Paris Opera House, or maybe it's something else for any other property or house that could be in this location. But it's very exciting to see a nice, big, and wide facade being put there. And there's also structures being seen near the exit of the Parisian Courtyard, which I think I've talked about before, but they're just still growing, and just lots of wood. It's very tall, so it's, very exciting to see where that eventually ends up, and I'm sure we'll have some idea in the next couple of weeks of what it's going to be, because at the rate they're constructing this thing, we're going to know what the property or house is very soon. The next bit of news regarding Hollywood is that the second Curious George tent is now up. Before we talked about the Halloween location on the last episode and how that's, moving forward. But now the other location, which was where Hill House was located, which was where Scarecrow was located, is now built up. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing some facade construction there very soon. Now let's move into, I think, probably the most interesting rumors or news construction, blah, 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 blah. And that's going to Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights, where we now have aerial pictures of the MIB tent location. I know we talked about in the last episode discussing what this might be, and how we all sort of came to the conclusion that we don't think it's for a house. And these photos from above are kind of showing us that's true. A tent was in fact put up, and it looks sort of like an MIB tent, has the same general shape and everything like that, but there is a small problem, and that problem is it is about, when looking at it from above, half the size of an MIB tent. Like, you can see just half of it is cut off and there's no tent there or anything. So it is likely to assume that this is not for Halloween Horror Nights, or at least a house for Halloween Horror Nights. What could it be? We're not sure. It could be something for Grad Bash that is going on currently, or it's about to happen. I'm not sure the timeline of that, but Grad Bash is about to begin at Universal Studios. It could be something for Halloween Horror Nights regarding maybe a break room. It could be a food stand, a merchandise location. It could be any of those things. But the one thing we're pretty sure it's not is an actual house. So since we've only gotten 10 permits for houses, and this location looks like it's clearly not a house, I think we can safely assume that we're only going to get 10 houses this year, unless they can, they have a surprise permit come out about another house location that we haven't seen yet. But I don't know. I don't think that's likely. I think we're sticking with 10, which, as much as I would like 11, 10 is still a lot of houses and a lot to get done in one night. So, maybe next year we'll get the 11. But the last piece of news is we're going to be talking about a Legacy comment. As you guys know before, Legacy is an insider who talks about Halloween Horror Nights and gives some clues and ideas about what might be coming to the event. But honestly, every insider right now seems like they are completely very clueless because of the rumor that Universal was using other property names to hide their actual properties and houses. So everyone's kind of a little in the dark right now, but there are a couple of comments Legacy made that I thought were interesting. And the first one is regarding MIB, the MIB tent. And he basically said, what if the MIB tent was not for HHN? So once again, this is diving into what I just previously discussed. What if this is for Grad Bash or a break room for another construction progress going, thing going on. So, that's always possible. But the next thing he said, I think, is the most interesting thing. And that is, what if they did a carnival house without Jack? Now, I know there's been previous discussion about a rumored carnival house and something on many discords and inside Universal forums and whatnot about, maybe that's going to be some house that ends up coming this year, some original house. And I don't know, Legacy's saying this while everyone's still in the dark right now and it seems like insiders are not really sure what's going on. I don't know, this could mean maybe we will get some sort of carnival house this year, some sort of carnival original, and I don't know. We'll figure that out, but that is very interesting. I find carnival houses to be interesting on haunts, like obviously I like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's one of my favorite houses, but I wouldn't necessarily call that a carnival house, even though it had a carnival tent. It was just mostly clowns, but I'd like to see a house with a lot of carnival acts, like the disturbing things they can do in a carnival and put that all together and make it, give it some story, some twisted story and evil stuff going on. And I think it can make for a very interesting house. And so as I'm recording this, that's about all the news and rumors that are out right now. Nothing too exciting, but hopefully we're about to enter the period where we're going to get a lot more construction updates where we can visibly see some things that could be really exciting, really telling on what houses or particular houses may end up coming to this year's Halloween Horror Nights. And now that news and rumors are done, without further ado, I'm going to lead you back to Duff and Jess and their special guest as they talk about something really, really interesting. Jonathan out.
All right, let's get into the main segment of this episode where we actually saw just kind of a really cool tweet and immediately went, what if that was an episode? I said, Jess, what do you think? I said, yeah, and here we are. So we did bring a few guests on for this concept here. First, we're going to toss it over to the guest who created this and popped off with the tweet from HHN Countdown, Natalie. How's it going, Natalie?
It's going great. How have you guys been?
Not too bad. I feel like it's been probably about a year since you've been on, regular trivia contestant.
Yeah, give or take.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm out here in a new place. Same city, new place. I'm having the time of my life.
Thriving. I love it.
All that matters. Not physically, but, on the social media landscape, where can people find you?
Oh, on social media, you can find me on Twitter at CountdownHHN. I post daily, counting down to opening day of HHN, and whatever other weird intrusive thoughts that are HHN related come into my brain.
You every time your countdown gets below 100, it's like a milestone day for me annually. So thank you for that.
Shucks, I try. I say like I have anything to do with the opening date.
Well, we appreciate your account because I wouldn't know how many days till HHN without you.
Aw, shucks.
All right, and so next up we have new to the show and also kind of new to podcasting, but I'm loving the show, I won't lie. We have the Haunt Girls, Nikki and Allie. What's up?
Hey! How's it going, guys?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you guys are here, and I said it before we started recording. This is the first time the guys are outnumbered.
I mean, first time since you've been on the show, maybe.
That's all that matters.
Listen, it's great to see, to have a group of girls talking about Halloween Horror Nights. I mean, what could go wrong?
Just girly things.
Nothing could go wrong.
Absolutely nothing.
It'll be a great episode with no issues, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
No. Oh my god! As long as Craig stays in his lane. Sorry. Okay. So, do you guys want to promote yourself? Where can people find you if they're interested?
Nikki, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. You can find us on Twitter at Hot Girls Pod, and then on Instagram at Hot Girls Podcast.
I love it. Check them out. I love the episode you guys just did with your partners. I'm not gonna lie. It was really funny.
It's actually hilarious because so many times we find ourselves like just talking about HHN and they're just like have no idea because we just love it so much, and it's actually really funny to see some of the things they think. Like when we talk about spec, they're so confused.
Sounds like I think the person we're going to introduce next on the show, actually.
I was going to say, yeah, that's kind of perfect. And the next guest, because the story is a different one of how they found HHN for sure. Husband of my co-host here, Jess. Eugene, how's it going?
Good. I'm happy to be here. This is my first time, right?
It is your first
It is
time
my
on the
first
show.
time
I don't know
on
how.
the show. I don't know how.
You usually
I don't know
shun significant others. That's why.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
Because we talk
completely.
about him enough, I guess.
all
Like
the time.
he comes up at least once an episode.
Yeah,
So
we've also like heard you yell at wrestling in the background at least like once every other episode. So
I'm sorry.
wrestling or the dog for sure.
One or the other. It
or
has to
both
happen
sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Eugene, where can people find you online?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Wade Ilson, and I also do a wrestling podcast, which you can find on all podcast streaming platforms. New Normal Wrestling on Twitter at Wrestling Normal, and that's it, really.
Go check him out. And I say we just hop right into this then. And let's start with a boring one, because you know me and Jess's story already. I'll try to make mine interesting, but until then, Jess, you can go first. I'm gonna think about how to make it interesting.
So I posted a tweet. I quote tweeted Natalie earlier, and I was like, "Well, this is my story. Everybody's heard it because it's the same story that every millennial in their late 20s, early 30s who likes HHN and watch the Travel Channel has." But in 2003, The Art of the Scare was the first time I was exposed to HHN in any like facet. I probably had seen some commercials because I grew up in South Florida, but I was not old enough, and that I don't even know how old. 8, 9 in 2000, something like that. So I wasn't going yet, but I saw The Art of the Scare and I saw Albert Kane, and I don't know what clicked in my brain, but I was like, ooh, I'm obsessed with this thing. And I watched Art of the Scare, like I kid you not, at least once a week my like entire adolescence until I like found other things to watch with HHN. And I still watch it at least like once a year. But it did take me 14 years after watching that documentary to finally put my ass through the gate and actually experience the event. And I haven't looked back since, obviously.
It's actually so funny you say that about seeing Albert Kane, because I know exactly which scene in The Art of the Scare you're talking about. It's like the
one where he's outside.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. The first one.
Mhm.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
And he like looks down at the camera, this tall, gaunt self, and it just now it activates something else in me. But as a child, I was genuinely terrified. But the thing was like the fact that I saw like Fear Factor in there, and I was like, oh, I know what that is. And I saw the dinosaur movie, Jurassic Park. But like seeing things that I was like, oh, I kind of know. And even Maximum Carnage, I knew what like Spider-Man was.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I don't think I could ever go through a haunted house, but like, look at me now.
I mean, seeing it on TV or on a screen versus being there is just so different. And sometimes like I saw it in The Art of the Scare and I was like, oh, that looks so cool. And then it's like when you get there, you're like, well, here I am.
Oh yeah, full body experience, which, ooh, I did not think that through when I watched Art of the Scare.
I have to jump in directly after a Maximum Carnage reference and ask Eugene, what in your life would you sacrifice to experience that house?
His wife.
The dog.
The dog.
The dog.
Oh, no, no.
The dog.
Oh no.
That was a quick answer.
Depths of fear all over again.
What does it,
Stop.
It's always the dog.
what does it say
You don't
about
even
me
get that
that I was okay when you said your wife, but not Rhea?
Right?
Wow.
That's okay. I would have been okay. If you
Dogs
said
are more
not
important than
me.
humans. Everyone
More-
knows it. Come on.
Hey,
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody cares when a human dies in a house, but the minute Helix was there,
Everybody lost their marbles.
Yeah.
Oh, what a time to have been alive.
Also, literally right next door, there was a dead horse, like a full-ass dead horse.
Oh, yeah.
And no one gave a
nobody
shit.
cares about. Nobody cared about
Yeah,
the horse.
nobody
Only the
cared.
horse girls cared about.
Heck,
No,
people didn't even mind beating the dead horse.
But
Sorry, that
But
sorry, that was dumb.
no, it's okay. But Maximum Carnage, I have shown Eugene Art of the Scare. I don't think he watched the whole thing, but I definitely showed him like that clip, and he was like, "What do you mean there was a Marvel house?" And I was like, "There was a Marvel house, but it wasn't Marvel."
we don't know if Marvel was fully aware there was a house until after, but there was.
There was.
Can you
Surprise for
imagine?
everyone.
Can you imagine just being that person working at Marvel, and one of your coworkers comes in and is just like, "Dave, we have a problem."
Dave.
He's got to be Dave.
Always.
They
do.
don't kick
Wait.
down Stanley's door back in 2002, 3. Kick it down and go, Stan. We got
No. They were gonna wait a second before telling Stan. They're like, well, what do we do? How do we tell Stan? I don't know.
You can't convince me
Hey.
Stan didn't love that.
Oh,
Plot
yeah.
twist, Stan was like going through the house wearing, of course, the classic hoodie, baseball cap, sunglass disguise
Yeah.
that
So-
every superhero uses, and just going through and going, oh, look at that.
Forgive me, but you could say Stan was a Stan.
Oh.
Get out.
Actually, I won't forgive you.
I'm part of this show. You can't kick me
Get
out.
Get out of it. You can't. No.
Oh, God.
You say he was screaming Excelsior or something like that.
Duff, do you want to get your
Yeah.
equally boring story out of the
Let's do
way?
it. So I found a way to make it more interesting because we actually start a very, very similar way. But before I get to that point, I will point out that my mom had actually been going since HHN 3. So I've
wow.
been very aware of the event because she went not every year, but most years in that period. She collected shot glasses. So I saw the merch she'd come back with. So I always was very aware. One, I lived in South Florida and they played the commercials, so I saw the commercials every year regardless. Two, my mom actually went and I was aware of what she was doing. So very aware of the event. So there was already kind of that interest there in the first place. But it was actually, once again, HHN 12, Islands of Fear. But it didn't start with Art of the Scare. It actually started before the event. It was the Caretaker's Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo ad that something finally fully clicked. And I was like, ooh. Let me go
I've
to,
seen that one.
Let me go
It's
to
pretty
early
cool.
internet forums and
That was
see
a good one.
what's going on.
Wow. Albert really does bring people together.
That
He really does.
He just loves a community.
Albie.
It's so funny too how
Our
like
boy Al.
yeah, like way back before a lot of us even had like social media, like how we found out about the event. Like we weren't like on Twitter or on like Discord servers finding out what's going on. I mean, we were just out here watching TV. And if we came across it, it was
cable television.
yeah.
I mean, mine was
That-
literally a commercial on like local television that finally did me in. And I was like, yeah, that's the moment that sticks with me forever and changed my life. Right there.
Yeah, we got all the commercials. I mean, in South Florida, like we got them
All of them.
lot.
A
Oh
lot.
my
They
God.
like hardcore marketing down there. So, it's not like people didn't know everyone knew what it was down there, whether they went or not. The existence of it is
And the
very
billboards.
obvious.
Oh, the billboards, they're impossible to miss.
Mm-hmm. Back in the
They're
day,
being-
especially, like they were
everywhere.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I remember being terrified of the commercials and the billboards when I was younger because there was no way of hiding from them all during October.
Mood.
Yep. And that's actually the next part of the story is that I was a very scared younger child who, although was interested, had zero interest in actually going there because I knew I'd be terrified. I was very jumpy, very scared of everything. At that point, what was I, like, I was 10? And finally, in 2006, I decided, let's give it a shot. So 14 at that point, I was like, I'm brave enough. Spoiler, I was still scared as shit. I've never been more terrified in my life than that single night. But clearly I loved it enough to just never stop going. So it started from like literally almost the moment I was born because my mom was already going to the event. Or I was like, I guess I was already one. But when I was a very young baby, she was already going to the event. So that's where my story starts. And it finally came to fruition in 2006.
So when you're
It's like my whole life is leading up to this type of moment.
Exactly.
so, like
You're like a dynasty,
I
like
know.
a
Yeah.
I
legacy.
know.
like when your mom would
Literally.
go, would she like tell you about the houses like as a little kid? Like you knew
I
what houses were
mean,
there?
probably closer to when I was like 7, 10
Yeah.
range is when I started to like hear about it from her, like what actually happens outside of. Oh, she added to her shot glass collection of Horror Night shot glasses. It became more than that eventually. So yeah,
Oh, well,
I
that's
definitely got intrigued from her telling me about it, and she couldn't tell me all about it. Obviously, she went there, and it's always been a drinking event. I'll say that much. So
I'm kind of jealous though that you had like a parent that was like deep into it, because then you could kind of share that love. Like you saw my mom last year at the wedding. My mom only went to HHN once because I got married there. She was not going to do it. My parents are not horror people. I don't know how they had 2 daughters that ended up like me and my sister. But like Duff's met my mom and obviously Eugene. Like she is not like us.
No.
So
No, not at all.
she threw me into a wall in Texas Chainsaw last year. Like threw me into a wall.
My gosh.
Not lightly.
Jess, did you get your mom in all the houses? Did you get through all of them?
So I think she did 7
That's pretty good.
out of the 10. And
Not bad.
30.
Yeah.
But the one she did say she didn't want to do was Texas Chainsaw. And to be fair, she didn't look at the signs when we walked in. But also, we might have been distracting her on purpose.
Look at the blinky.
So,
Look at
exactly.
the blinky.
How will they know?
But she kind of liked icons. She said, I think Bride was her favorite. And favorite is a very loose term. Very loose term. But it was interesting. So I'm very jealous of you, Duff, because I would love to be able to share it with my mom, honestly.
Yeah, and I was
At
gonna
least
say
she went in though, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
it
My parents
was a
would
big
not
step
go.
from what I could tell.
My parents straight up laughed when I told them I was going. They were like, "Oh yeah, we bet you are. We bet." And then I did it.
Tie it up in a nice bow. My mom still goes to this day. So she started it all. She's kind of not ending it all, I hope, but that's a little rough. But she comes every year, and that's still always my favorite night of the year.
Aww.
Yeah, it was very cute last year. They all wore Pumpkin Lord shirts.
Oh, stop.
Adorable.
It was so cute. I have to expose Duff. It was adorable.
Thank you.
Listen, the Pumpkin Lord shirts, I can see it. I have that shirt, and I love that shirt.
It's a great group shirt.
I
It
love
just
that
works
shirt.
so well.
But not to toot our own horn.
Still available at hhn365.com.
Hey, some people bought it when they bought their bug shirt. I see you.
Appreciate you. I guess I can add one more thing, because we were talking about getting interested. There was another level of interest, so I'm going to toss this in as well. HHN 26 was the first time I ever went to the event more than 2, maybe 3 times a year, and that's when the full hook of just living it 365 happened. It was that season.
Yeah. That was me with 29, my first year in Orlando. I was obsessed before, but I went every night after work. And
I already had an obsession, but it got to a very dangerous level that it still sits at now. In 26.
It led us to this podcast is literally all it did.
And it was very specifically, I think I talked about this on Catacombs or another show at some point, but specifically I had, for the first time ever, I spent a lot of time in a scare zone, just sitting there, taking it in, and it was Vamp 55. And that's the moment I noticed that there's so much about this event that I am just going to fully invest myself 100%, rather than the 90% I was already at. So that's my full interest story.
Once you start hanging out in scare zones, spending entire days in scare zones, that's when you know
Over.
you're
Well,
I live here now.
This is your life. This is your life. Congratulations. You live here now.
On the bench.
Am I fully invested now because I do that with you?
You do.
Correct.
Yeah. You fully-
Yep.
And it's his idea most of the time now. I'll be like, time for a house, and he's like, no, we should go sit in graveyard.
get a-
and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
Yeah, but you gotta get
I know why I married
a
you.
snack. You gotta get a snack first and then go sit.
snacky.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think it was usually
Yes.
a Save Your Tears for Eugene.
Oh, that was
Always.
so
Always
good.
a
Oh,
savior
those were
face.
so good.
Always.
Every time we went, they were out of the bobas. I don't know why. We were so unlucky.
Yeah, because
Everyone
they
went
filled
crazy.
my entire cup with it. Of course they ran out.
Damn, mine too.
To be fair,
No, Duff,
They knew what the people wanted.
I don't know, man. Duff got a cup that was 3/4 of the way.
They gave me some alcohol with my boba for sure.
oh, okay.
Mhm.
It's a little shot.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'd say now that we're past the 365 host, let's again start with Natalie, as of course this was your tweet that we literally looked at and were like, I love this concept. So Natalie, what got you interested in HHN?
Well, as the chronically online Gen Zer, my story starts as many other chronically online Gen Zers does, on YouTube. It was a click hole is the only way I can describe it. YouTube rabbit hole, click hole. You'll hear a million different terms for it, all of them ending in hole for some reason. But I ended up finding haunted house walkthroughs, and I was a very sheltered kid. My parents, they wouldn't let me go out and do anything in person, but never really checked what I was doing online. So I could just sit and I could just watch these haunted house walkthroughs of all these different places that if I so much as told my parents even slightly, I think I want to go to this, they'd have just been like, yeah, right. But one thing started leading to another, and in the fall of 2015, a little 16-year-old from Pennsylvania stumbled upon a YouTube channel called The Tim Tracker. And I was blown away. Like, I had seen haunted house walkthroughs primarily from places like Knott's and HHN Hollywood, but seeing the scare zones, seeing how hard everybody goes, seeing the icons for the first time. Like, everybody uses this phrase, but it genuinely altered my brain chemistry. I was no longer going to be the same person that I was before.
But did you?
That's because you saw Tim Tracker's mustache in 2015, right? That's what altered everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely. That is 100% what did it. That is why I'm here today.
But
it was...
Did you just like stumble across the walkthroughs, or did you like find one? You're like, oh, I just need to watch more of these. They're so good.
I found one because I loved scary stuff. I loved horror movies. I loved horror everything. Halloween has been my favorite thing since I was a little kid. Even when I was like a little scaredy cat kid and didn't want to go into the Halloween store, I still liked Halloween.
Right.
Oh my God, that was me. I would make my mom park me at the mask aisle at the front, but I wouldn't go down it. I would just want to look at them.
Yes,
yep.
I say this all the time. Like, everyone that goes to HHN loves Halloween, and that's why we're here, because we started loving Halloween first, and then we just
I was that kid who beelined to the kids' costume section, head down. You know, no, don't make me look. Don't make me look. Don't make me look. And then, you know, the older I got, the more I got interested in haunted houses, and I didn't really have many friends as a kid growing up. So I couldn't really go places with them, and my parents, anytime I suggested it, they were like, yeah, no, we're not going to that. So I kind of just got stuck in living vicariously through YouTube. And I ended up getting really, really lucky on Tumblr and made some of my best friends to this day, like people I've talked to every day now. And many of them were also long-distance fans. It was really nice to have that kind of camaraderie with other people who knew what I was saying. Because at my high school, if I'd have said anything about Horror Nights, everybody would have looked at me and been like,
oh yeah,
what's your problem?
Even today, like I'll talk my coworker's ear off. I'll talk anybody's ear off. Like one announcement comes out and I just have to tell everybody, and they're like, okay, so it's like April, and I'm like, yeah, but you don't get it. Like,
yeah, I straight up like told my coworkers. I tell my coworkers all the time about announcements and stuff, and they're just like, cool. They really hire anybody here, huh?
The off season is so much more fun when you have people to talk to about the event.
Exactly.
When it's not going on.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's like absolute reason we started this podcast. So,
absolutely.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we're here.
Oh, literally.
Yeah. At 16, I sat my parents down and I said, Mom, Dad, this is the 25th year of Halloween Horror Nights, and when I turn 21, it'll be the 30th year. So I'm going to the 30th year of Halloween Horror Nights for my 21st birthday, and you can't stop me. They laughed really hard.
Oh my God.
And I mean, looking back, they actually kind of had reason to laugh because I sure didn't go when I was 21.
Oh no.
For sure.
Oh, that's so sad.
Good old pandemic. But
Oh no.
I got to go eventually. I lived my dream. I made a whole bunch of friends along the way. And now I'm here. And I couldn't be more grateful for any of it. Like, genuinely, this community has made me who I am now.
Aww.
And I'm really, really happy about how I turned out.
Now,
Yeah, I love that.
if you go back to the videos you were watching in 2015, was there a specific house or moment that like fully stuck with you that you're like, oh, wow?
Watching like Tim Tracker walk through the icons scare zones and seeing the icons kill absolutely just, it set me on what I can only describe as the deepest rabbit hole of my life. I had to consume every piece of media about every icon, anything that I could find.
Mm-hmm.
I had to dig up the emulators of the old websites.
Yep.
I had to dig up like all the old commercials. I had to look at all the old merch. I had to do everything.
Listen, everybody has to go down the icons rabbit hole spiral at least once.
Yeah, it's your initiation.
It is your rite of passage.
Oh yeah, and some of us do it every year just for fun again.
Yeah. You'll never recapture the feeling of your first icons spiral, but it's still fun to relive.
Oh, for sure. I just love that you brought up like you've made so many like really close friends because of the event, because like literally like Duff, Mary, we'll get into Eugene in a little bit, but like most of our bridal party was people that, because of the event, that brought like it into our lives, like, and even now like it's just like a big reunion every season. Like we see them in the off season, but like opening night is like electric and you're like, oh my god, it's like the first day of school.
It really is. It feels like the first day of school all over again. Except like elementary school, or when like a time when you actually liked going to school, you know?
Yeah, when you're like, ooh, it's orientation day and I get to see who's in my class.
The opening night.
Oh boy, I get to see all my friends.
Opening night is also kind of like the Met Gala of HHN.
Oh, it definitely is.
Everybody
is out of my mouth, Allie.
We are.
Yes.
I can't wait for the day I get to do an opening night.
Oh, you have to.
Like as a long distance fan, that is my dream.
Yeah.
Honestly, the year when I get to do a full season uninterrupted, that's gonna be when it really hits for me. Well, I mean, it already has really hit, so to say, but like that is gonna be the next level, ascending to a higher plane of existence type moment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Again, going back to my whole 26 thing, I can fully attest to that. Like, there's a level of obsession that you can have no matter what. But then, like, when you're just going every night, it's like, something is wrong with me, but I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you know something's really wrong with you when you cry on closing night in your favorite house of that year. You know something's real wrong with you at that point.
Yeah.
Real wrong or real right, Jess?
Real right.
Everything has gone perfectly.
Yeah, no, literally. That was me in Icons at 30, at Graveyard Games 29 last year. I don't know about Monsters or Weekend, but I did have a great time.
Yeah, I feel like
got a little emo.
Yeah, opening night when you first go, it's like such a different feeling because you're like, I have no idea what I'm gonna see, especially because like it's opening night. Nobody has really seen it other than team members, and then it's like closing night. It's like this is the last time I'm gonna get to run this house ever. Like such a total shift, but in the best way.
It's almost like graduation day. It's like, oh man, I'm never coming back to this place again.
It always goes
at least
so
not the way
quick.
it used to be. Oh my gosh, it's surreal. Like it's surreal how quick a season goes by.
I want to say it's bittersweet because
Like
you're
this-
excited for what next season has in store, but also you don't want to say goodbye to the current season.
That's true.
As you're walking out of the archways, yeah.
I mean, as the resident non-Floridian, I kind of already am past my post-HHN depression by closing night, because I'm just like, well, I had it, and now I'm not there anymore. I'll be sad for this week, and then when closing comes, I'll be okay, because at least now I'm on the same page with everybody
I'll
else.
tell you what, I'm very grateful that we now get pretty much all of September and all of October, because back in the day,
I'm so
back
excited.
in the day, we got October and like a week in September. Like barely, like a weekend. So I mean, the fact that we get 2 months is like great.
It is just so exciting to see haunts in general be able to have longer seasons or do off-season events. Just for it to go not completely year-round, but for there always to be a little something every once in a while, and you're not just sitting around waiting for Halloween.
Yeah. That's where you got to find those.
It's just so nice.
Those nice little nooks and crannies that are holding on to Halloween all year long. Those are the best.
Yes, I love those.
These podcasts.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
For example, yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And then, Natalie, one more thing. As you had to be kind of an onlooker for a while, in kind of that period where you were just watching and waiting to go, was there one house that you just really, really, really wish we could go back and see.
Okay, so are we just doing just from the years that I was an onlooker?
You could do both.
Or in general?
Anything.
Above.
Anything you want.
Because I have like a whole
Okay,
list.
so give me an onlooker and then just general one.
Alrighty. So as an onlooker, I had just really, really wanted to do graveyard games. I looked at it. I was like, "This is everything I wanted."
You're speaking to
This is
365.
everything I want.
We are the Graveyard Games podcast.
I looked at this. I was like, "This is everything I want in a haunted house." It's so cool. I actually grew up in a neighborhood that was nestled between two graveyards.
Oh, I'm jealous. In the weirdest way, I'm so jealous.
And then my family wondered, like, how'd she turn out like that? I don't know, man. You tell me. Anyway, I'm gonna try to go make some friends. If you see me hanging out with an old man, leave me alone.
I'd love to go through Graveyard Games again too.
It would have been
just one more.
everything
Such a
to
good
me.
house.
My body lives in Ascension Parish, actually.
You guys remember?
That is
I remember standing
where your mortal coil is.
standing in the Graveyard Games queue, and they had that Facebook Messenger thing, and you could like message it. I always like would forget about it until I got right to the outside, like right before you go in, and I was like, "Oh, I got a message quick," and I was like speed messaging, and I was like, "I'll just read them later," because they would come
was
through.
literally so brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
It was
So
really.
I
that.
actually
That was a-
I started doing it at work because I found out I'm bored here and I'm just gonna play on my phone
And it
and
worked?
do this. Oh,
I
it works,
guess
yeah.
It
you can use
works.
You could do it anywhere. Yeah.
I would like speed message
Yeah.
them. I wouldn't even read it.
Yeah, no, it works
Oh, no,
anywhere,
you-
anytime. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
No, I miss it.
Anytime you say, let
Oh,
me pull this up
I mean,
right
actually,
now. I don't use
you never know.
Facebook.
To be honest, I probably
Ooh.
still have the chat. Now,
Universal's gonna be like, why are we getting so many DMs on Facebook right now? Oh my god.
Universal just gonna be like that scene from SpongeBob. Who are you people?
Like, oh damn, 365 talked about Graveyard Games again, didn't they?
so funny though, because I remember the group that I was with, they were like, why do you like care? I'm like, I have to know the backstory. I was like, I have to just know every detail and then look for everything in the house. Wasn't there something we were like a symbol or something we were looking for and like nobody could find it? You guys remember that? No.
I don't remember a symbol. I do remember there's like things that they brought up in that people were like
Like a
okay,
light or
but
something.
where is it?
Yes, and we were like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well, there was the glowing,
yes,
like the glowing
Mother, yeah.
light.
Yes,
yeah.
that was it. Okay.
So it was like behind, you know that in the house there was that it was like a dummy of like a spirit on like a string. And it kind of like moved forward. That was the glowing mother. If you looked behind her, there was a light.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that was it. Because like everyone talked about the glowing mother, like, as much as I love this
Where is
house,
it?
that was the only ever light.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
You get one light.
One. But you can have 6 cell phone, Snapchat, FaceTime
right?
calls.
Exactly.
scenes in this house. No, God, I miss that house
Us.
every day. I really do.
Natalie,
Yeah,
what's your like general all-time house you wish you could hit?
General all-time house. Reflections of Fear. Dr. Mariagana is my heart, my soul. Every day that I wake up and I'm not her is a day wasted. For legal reasons, this is a joke. I don't want to disappear due to copyright. But I just have such an attachment to that character, and I would have loved to see her house. I would have loved to see anything from HHN 18, to be honest. But, like, her house would have been the ultimate moment of my life. Now, if you had put 9-year-old me through it, I'd probably have had a heart attack and not came out. But, like, 23, almost 24-year-old me also would have had a heart attack, but for a good reason this
I
time.
feel like the level of heart attack has to do with how many times you've been. Is
Yeah.
this your first time?
Yeah.
Is this
I
your
get
fourth?
desensitized after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one room will really
Oh, yeah,
humble
yeah.
you
Oh, yeah.
very quickly.
I 100%
Eventually.
get scared.
You'll get your shit rocked.
I like
For
to
me,
think
it's
I, like,
always those
know what's
dark
coming.
rooms.
Yeah. No, but I also sometimes like overestimate where they're coming from, and then I'm totally wrong. And then it scares the crap out of me.
Oh yeah, because you look at for like every single corner and every single place that could potentially be a boo hole, maybe, and you go, oh, over there, over there, over there. Oh no, you came from over here.
Go to Hollywood and everything comes from a different angle.
Oh, we're excited. This is
It's
Haunt Girls,
wild.
Nikki and I, this is our first year going to Hollywood. We're very excited.
Oh, you.
Ooh,
in for a treat,
exciting.
'cause
Yeah.
Regardless of what anyone says about the event and quality, whatever, it is going to be such a different experience while still being HHN.
No, we've been dying to
Oh,
go,
absolutely.
and just the fact that we never experienced it before, and it's still HHN. So I think we'll have a good
We
time.
always say we
Mhm.
always say we're gonna go, and then all of a sudden it's August, and we're like, well, we didn't plan to go, and now it's a lot to put together. But this time we're planning early, so it's gonna happen. We're gonna be there. But I'm excited. I think we're gonna do RIP.
We're trying to get Eugene this year too.
I want to go this year.
You
I'd
got
like to go.
Should
Just get a different.
Better
one.
go.
all right. Oh, Duff said you better.
don't go alone.
So it's been decreed.
I
I'm
think it was
going.
already
Yeah.
decided
It's already
without
decided.
asking you.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I wasn't even asked, so I'm going. I guess.
you have to go to Knott's. It's the 50th.
I understand that. I totally get it. So now I know I'm going.
Yeah, you are.
I'm fully committed to the bit now.
2 LA trips this year.
Oh, joy.
Welcome to my life.
And mine.
True.
Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. I'm married into it.
Yeah.
Wait, me or her?
Both at
Both.
this point.
Yeah, fair.
Both at this point.
All right. Well, let's to be honest. Whoever wants to go next, who's ready to really tell their story, who feels really confident, is excited about it, can tell their story.
Oh, I'm gonna steal it. That's okay.
All yours.
So, for me, I actually found HHN by accident. So I moved from Pennsylvania to Florida when I was like 11, and my family, of course, being theme park people, got Universal passes, and we happened to have the pass that had the like free pass holder day. And I mean, growing up, I was always really into like horror movies, and my parents always knew that. So we were like, well, we have a pass, like, why don't we go? And just for fun. And that was for HHN 21. And that was Lady Luck's year. So I was like, oh, this seems kind of cool. So we booked a hotel. We came over from Tampa, and we walked into the event, and I was like when you get to the gate for the first time, like I will shit my pants. I was like, this is terrifying. It's dark. Like they had Lady Luck like at the very front with her wheel, like gambling wheel, as like a photo op, and my parents were like, let's get a picture.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
so
actually
cool.
hilarious because I still have the picture of me, and I am smiling, like gritting my teeth so hard in my little like Justice jacket. I was like,
Allie was
13,
dressy
okay?
back then. Let me tell you.
Silent, and it's so funny because all my pictures from that year, the quality is horrible because this was like I had like a flip phone. Like I didn't have an iPhone then, so it's like I wish I could look back on it more, but it was like we went for the first time.
I almost
I
almost asked if iPhones were even a
No.
thing in 2011. They absolutely were.
They definitely were, but it was like the bigger ones, and like they were like so new that like only my dad had one. I don't know. It was like too big.
Yeah,
for a kid.
only rich kids at my school had
Yes.
iPhones. Like you had to really be
I had
somebody.
an iPod Touch. But
Oh, the iPod Touch. So
I
I
many
still just had my
memories.
razor. Yeah.
oh, I had a razor. I had a pink one, and then it got wet, and then I also got a blue one. Those,
Oh my god, I also had multiple razors. I had the Miami Ink razor.
Ooh.
I had a
Okay,
razor
that's awesome.
it's just
I had the side.
I had a sidekick
Oh.
too.
Ooh.
I had all the.
Yeah, you're definitely from Jersey.
Oh.
The fucking sidekick.
Wow.
Oh my god. Eugene is also a little older
That's fair.
than all of us.
Why you gotta throw my age out there?
Because you
I
are.
understand that.
When Art of the Scare came out, as Duff and I just said, we were what, 10 and 8? How old were you, Eugene?
What year was that?
2003. You were 17.
I was 5. To be fair.
You were about to graduate high school the next year.
I was still wearing long jerseys back
You were
then.
wearing 6X basketball jerseys
And
when Art of the Scare came out.
I didn't even know what that was until I married into this.
We'll get to that story. This
But
isn't
once
your
you
story
find
right
it,
now.
listen,
I know.
you don't know what it is until you find it, and then once you find it, it's like Viral.
Hey.
Oh, but I mean, HHN 21, like I said, it was our very first year, and I'm there with my parents, literally my mom and my dad, and all of us had never been to a haunt event, like, ever. I worked at one, like, at the local fire department, but that was literally it. So our first house ever was Nightingale's Blood Prey.
Oh my
And
god.
Let me
Oh,
tell you.
man.
Let me tell you. It was not good. I mean, it was great. It was, that feeling is what got me to love HHN. But that house was absolutely terrifying. Like, for 3 people who have never been to a haunt to go through Nightingales.
It's not one of the scariest houses
That
they've
is-
ever made or anything.
No. I'll
Terrifying.
never
Oh my
forget.
God.
And like, now that it's not as common now, but there was, like, I mean, we had bungee scares in there. We had so many double scares. I remember at one point, 2 of the Nightingales, like, cut us off, like, the conga line. Like, I don't know if like, we just couldn't get through fast enough because we were so scared. And they cut us off and they, like, started running towards us. So my mom, like, fell into me. It was a house to remember. I'll tell you that.
So, I gotta ask, coming out of that, did you even want to go into another house?
No, so it's funny you say that because I went to the thing next, and I literally had my eyes closed the whole time. I was like, is this fun? Because I don't know. I held on to my the back of his shirt, like his shoulders, and closed my eyes. And honestly, I think that made it worse. Because then I just, like, heard all these things and I didn't know what they were, especially in the thing. So, other than that, I had a great time.
Sometimes your brain creates the real horrors.
No, but it's honestly, 21 was like a very quick, like, we had the pass, we went, we saw a couple things, and I really liked it. But then 22, and you're gonna laugh, I was a super big Walking Dead fan, and that was the first time we got it. And I was like, okay, we're going back. And then every year after that, it was just kind of like, I had to go. Because it was like, I don't know. Something for me that I really enjoy about the houses is just, like, seeing all the details and how they're built and just seeing them. I mean, getting scared is fun too.
Was there a specific thing or house or scare zone in 21 that you're like, that made you really enjoy it? Or was it something that you were just terrified the whole night and later on you decided you enjoyed it?
Well, it's funny. Well, I mean, we had some really great houses in 21, so we tried to go
that's one of the best events ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, seeing the sets in, like, Winter's Night, and, I mean, I don't know, it was just, like, so cool. Like, I had never seen anything like that before. It was like you walk in and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in a cemetery in the middle of winter in the middle of Florida in September. Like, it was just so cool. Like, I had never seen anything like it. It was just, like, seeing these sets was a big thing for me. And then I kept seeing IPs come back that I liked, and I was like, well, I guess I gotta go see how that one was built, because it was just good.
You think you would have gone back, like, for 22 if there wasn't The Walking Dead or a draw of that level for you? Yeah.
I mean,
You're going
I
back
think
regardless.
Right. Well, like I said, because, I mean, a lot of the ones that I enjoyed in 21 weren't IPs. So, I mean, I like the originals. I mean, even from way back then. I mean, they were pretty good back then too, but...
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's how most of us get hooked, is the original. That's usually what does it.
The IP brings you in. The originals
Keep
make you stay. Pretty much, yeah.
Yep. 100%. I went for AHS Volume 2 and 27. That was, like, the thing that drove me to the event, because Coven was represented. And my friends were like, you're going. And I was like, I'm going. And I walked into Hive, and halfway through the house, I looked at my best friend Daniel, and I was like, I was meant to be here.
In the Hive, that's hilarious.
And now look at me. Well, no, it wasn't Hive. It was just the fact that I was in a haunted house at HHN.
Hive.
Literal
Hive.
life-changing moment that is Hive.
Yeah, let me tell you, amazing first house ever.
The house of all time.
Not that it was, one of my favorite modern properties that got replaced or anything like that, but we don't know about that.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Look at me now. I got so many other amazing things, like Beetlejuice.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm just going to end the call now.
I'm kidding. I am totally kidding. You guys know how much I fucking love this event. Allie, I loved your story.
Thanks.
Though. I really did.
It's so funny too because my parents went like 21, 22, 23, mostly because I was young and like couldn't go by myself. And they haven't gone actually for probably since 24. So every year I'm like, you guys gotta come back. It's because my younger sister won't go. She's terrified. She will not go. And it's like, well, we don't want to leave your sister behind. So I'll tell you what, my sister said if for some reason we get Stranger Things, she'll go. So I am just praying that this is the year.
No?
She missed it.
Fingers
One
crossed.
day.
And I'll roll up with Hellfire.
Guitar lightning
Guitar
bolt.
lightning
You
bolt.
know. Guitar lightning bolt.
But I think they're gonna get back this year, hopefully. My parents aren't as cool as Duff's.
It's only my mom, don't worry. I
Either.
don't think my dad's ever been, so we're good.
My
It
parents
balances out.
refused to step foot in the event, so
I think my parents would actually die if I took them to Horror Nights. They would not know what to do.
If I bring my mother back, she'll
You gotta
kill
have
me.
a parents' night. We all bring our parents.
You should.
I can't bring my mom. She'll kill me.
Bring your kid to work day. Bring your parent to HHN day. This is me returning
Nikki's
the
mom
favor.
will go, but Nikki's mom will drive her from Miami and back
yeah,
Oh,
I can.
my.
in a day.
Whoa.
That kind of goes into my story. If you guys want me to go ahead with it.
Yeah, go, all of you.
Yeah, go
So
off.
my first year was 23, so whatever number that is in 2013. Okay.
13?
And it was just
Yeah.
like a small group, me and two friends from school. I was a freshman in high school, so mom had to drive us, and she was like, "I'm totally fine with driving you guys, but I'm not stepping foot in the event." So she literally like, dropped us off in the little carpool lane and then took off and like I guess met up with one of her friends in Orlando. And just like backstory, I'm from Miami, so she drove those 4 hours up and the 4 hours back. She would pick us up. Like we didn't stay the entire event night. It would be like maybe midnight, and she'll pick us up and drive us back. So, mom, if you're listening, shout out to you. Thank you.
A long drive.
It is
It's
a long drive, and I'm a sleepy girl, and I would say, "Mom, I'll stay with you. I'll stay with you." I was asleep in the back seat. Sorry, but that was my first year, and then I went 24. 24 was actually pretty cool because I went to a performing arts high school, which was audition based, and I was on the musical theater track. And HHN actually reached out to my school and invited the theater department to the event one night. And before the event started, they took us to the horror makeup show stage and gave us like a whole run through how their audition process worked. I think they showed us a video of like their makeup application process also. So it was like really cool to see like a little backstage situation with them. And
So
then
fun.
it was.
That is
It was
so
really
awesome.
cool. It was really cool. I wish I realized how cool it was when I was in the moment, but at the time, I'm just like, I'm in Orlando, haha, and I'm out of school. But then when they when they let us out of the theater, they I forgot what zone it was that year, but there was a zone with motorcycles, and the scare actors on the motorcycles literally rode right by us to set up to begin the event for the night. So it was pretty cool. We got to stay and do the event, and I think that's what really got me into it, because in 23 I had my eyes closed through most of the houses. But I can tell you my first house was Cabin in the Woods 23, and it was
Star
bits and
Wars.
pieces
Yeah.
I did see were pretty good. And then in 24 I remember doing Aliens versus Predator. I think it came back for 2 years. I think it was 24 and 25. And that was pretty just like well done. And also Halloween, the original Halloween, I think it was the first year they did it, was 24, when we had the whole facade and in the tent, and it was Myers' house up front. But after 24, I didn't go back to the event till 28. And then I just started, that's when I got the frequent fear pass, and I was going just about every weekend since then.
The rest is history.
The rest is history, and here we are. But yeah, I don't know where this love came from, if I'm being honest. My parents do not like scary things. My dad is actually traumatized from Dracula because he was forced to watch it, like the original
Dracula.
the original black and white film.
Wait, like the 1931?
He was
Oh my
terrified of
gosh.
Dracula, so he still
Aw.
to this day sleeps with like a pillow over his head, so in case Dracula comes,
Oh,
he can't get to
no.
his neck. And I actually love the monsters. And
You guys
yeah.
should have brought him last year.
Right?
I
Oh,
wish. I
no.
honestly would love to bring my parents to this. I feel like they probably think it's more scary than what it is. I'm sure they'll still get scared there, but monsters are one of my favorite things
Yeah.
about HHN, about Universal in general. So like the fact that like his trauma is from
That's
the monsters, and they're
It's
my
actually
favorite.
hilarious because in Legends Collide, Nikki was always Team Drac, and every time Drac won, she was cheering. I didn't know your dad had a
Oh my
Drac.
God. I never told you
Drac.
that. Yeah. To this day, like I took a picture. You know how Drac and Monster Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein used to hang out at the Dead Coconut Club some nights.
Yes. Mhm.
One night when I went, it was Dracula hanging out. And I took a picture with him and I sent it to my dad, and he was like, "No."
Red.
Oh
So-
my god.
We are getting the deep lore on this episode.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
see it.
He's
Deep
he's
cut.
not into it. I mean, Mom did
my
go
God.
one year to Busch Gardens Hollow Scream, which is a little it's still scary, just a little,
Different.
down a level. Yeah. And
It's a little different. It's
It's
like
different,
apples
yeah.
and oranges.
right, and she
Yeah.
did not enjoy herself. But she knew that I was having a good time, so
Fair.
that's what mattered to her. But yeah, I don't know where this came from, and it's funny because usually when it's me and Allie makes me go first, and I'm like have to be the fearless
Well,
one.
okay.
Right through
To be
it.
fair, I just like to take it all in. And if I'm getting jumped at, then it throws me off a second.
Well,
I'll
learned,
let Nikki go first.
That's fair.
especially like with my boyfriend Alex, he's like 6'4", he's a big guy. If I'm
Oh.
behind him, they think I'm scared. They're gonna target me. So I'm always like, honey, I'm going
Oh, yeah.
first. I don't
Mhm.
want to be jumped at. And I let
If
him
I
go first
go-
one time, and he realized it. Yeah.
Yeah, if I go with Tyler, I 100% go first because otherwise I can't see. But if the person I'm going with is taller than me, then I'm gonna go first so I can see. That's scary
It's
when
only
you
with
can't
me,
see.
Allie, that you made me go first. I don't mind going
Yeah.
first, though. I honestly love it. I love getting the interactions with the actors in there. But yeah, you asked my parents where this came from, they couldn't tell you. So
You're here,
Hey.
you're here
Magic
now.
and
Yeah.
math.
Same, sort of. Well, okay, maybe not for me, but two questions about the story. Well, one statement, one question. Your first visit, your mom definitely had the scarier night, driving an 8-hour round trip.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
Not a fun drive.
She's far braver than me.
Also, you said you didn't go from 24 to 28, but then you immediately got a frequent fear. Why? What caused that?
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't go 25, 26, 27, and then 28. I think it was just the friends I had at the time, like Allie. I met Allie in college. We were in the same sorority.
It's me.
So just like the friends I had, and I finally had people to go with. So honestly, I was dying to go again, but no one wanted to go because no one was
Yeah.
scared like
What's
me.
actually funny is before I even knew Nikki, I mean, I kind of knew her through mutual friends, but I saw her post on her Instagram that she was at HHN, and I was like, oh, we have to be friends. I was like, we just have to be friends. And now it's like we go to the event all together, like all the time, do day trips all the time. It's like, I don't know, having friends to go with just makes it so much better. I mean, I've done solo trips. Solo houses are fun, but
Oh, you should do a solo, at least like a run through your favorite house. I feel like everyone should do at least a solo run through your favorite house
100%.
every season, or at
I
least
did do a
night.
solo run through one time, and it
Good.
did not go great.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't.
Oh, no,
terrified,
it was-
that's the
it was
issue. I
Halloween
wasn't
4.
scared.
it's Halloween
was not
4, that's
scared.
why.
That was the issue.
Oh, I'm.
It was just me
sorry.
and Michael vibing the entire house. Hell, here you are again.
Actually,
Oh,
it's funny you say that because I did a solo run last year in the Halloween house as well, but the one we just had. And because they had that
Mhm.
line at Stay and Scream, and I was at the park by myself anyway, and I was like, all right, sure, I'm here, I'll do a house. And the group in front of me, so when you walk into the room where you see the Myers house, and there's like hedges, the people in front of me walked to the left and walked through the hedges, and I was like, no,
No.
no, that's not the way. And they turned around and looked me dead in the eye and kept going. I was like, all right. I was like, well, I tried my
Have
best.
fun with Michael.
And then the people behind me followed
Good
them, and
luck.
I was like, no. And the poor ops guy was like running after them, and I was like, well, I know which way to go because I've done this house a lot. And that was probably one of my favorite runs because I was by myself front and there's no one in front of me or behind me for a good like couple minutes, and I was like, this is great. I was like, I wish I could do this. I'd pay money to do that, honestly. Run a house completely by myself.
I
Nikki,
did a
sorry.
solo run of Case
Ooh.
Files when I went during 30 because I had just been wandering around. I kind of lost track of the friend that I traveled down to Florida with, and I was like, okay, well, oh hey, Case Files is here. I'll text you when I get out. And then when all my friends were like, you went through Case Files alone? And I was just like, yeah, what was I supposed to do? I didn't know where you guys were.
I feel like Case Files would have been. Yeah.
No, Nikki, I love that you. No, I love that you said that. Like, it's hard when you don't have friends who go to HHN. Because in 29, when I first moved here with my ex at the time, all I had was him, and he didn't want to go every night. So I would come sometimes to 29. I'd do graveyard games and go home because that was the only house I could do by myself. Like bravery wise,
Should have
at that
found
point.
us, Jess.
So once I know. Well, I didn't know you guys. Now that you find your tribe, your little group of freaks, and then you just go every night.
It's like really funny because usually like the sorority is what brings you close to people. But for me and Allie, we were in the
It
sorority.
was HHN.
And, yeah, we were friends and all, but it was after graduating college and all that. That's when we got really close. Because we were like, oh, you like HHN?
Yeah.
Like HHN. What?
Also, yeah, the longer you go to the event, you'll just find more and more and more people that like to do the exact same things that you do, and you're like, okay, so I'm not crazy about talking about this year round, and that's just talk. Like I said, spec season's a lot of fun when you have people to talk about it with. So it's like
Allie and I's text thread is literally like HHN related stuff at every hour.
200 unread messages.
And it's me.
Not
They
even
just
kidding.
tweeted a random drift. What does it mean?
Bring up how like the more you go and the more years you attend the event, that like kind of you just find more people who are into it. It's so true because this last year was the first time I think I've ever gone and not ever done a single solo run of any house because I was literally always with a friend at some point.
Aww. They did tell us not to go alone.
Crazy. Yeah, that is true. I didn't follow instructions in 30, but I did in 31.
That's funny, Duff, because that's the same 30. I definitely did icons and a couple other things alone, but last year it was all you were always there, and I would always find you or somebody else.
That's how it works out. Sometimes you like go by yourself, and then you run into people, and you're like, "Oh, hey, I didn't know you were here." And that's happened to me before with friends that have actually like I had no idea they even went to HHN, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're here!" It's a big event. You'll find somebody, I promise.
I think the issue for me and Allie on going alone is that we're in Tampa, so that drive back is what scares me. Doing the alone.
Yeah, we
trip.
take turns.
Yeah.
We'll do it on like a Thursday night, and then wake up Friday and go to work. Like it's nothing.
I did it once. I did it.
Leave work, go to the park, come back, work the next day.
I think I met up with Allie for closing this past year, and I drove back by myself. Yeah.
It's the time of day you have to do that drive. That
Yeah.
5, 6 o'clock. Yep.
Exactly.
No.
Oh my god.
I've done that drive.
You get there at like 9 p.m. basically.
I mean, I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna go. It's just, I mean, usually I have some music to listen to or some podcasts on the way. So it's
podcast.
My ride is usually HHN themed as well, so it's kind of a whole it ties in together. It's okay.
I like it. I mean, I don't like the traffic, but I like everything else.
If you leave at 6 a.m. in the morning, there is no traffic. Which is what I used to do for day trip.
Much better.
You just gotta camp out. Is what you gotta do.
You guys have friends in Orlando. You can just come hang out at one of our houses or crash.
That's true.
So I said every year you'll make more friends, and soon enough you won't have to do day trips.
Drive anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, every year it's just more and more people. I feel like the event gets bigger and bigger every year too. So it's like so many friends that I think like always used to like never even go, or every time they see a new IP, it's like, oh, we have to go.
All right, Eugene.
Yeah, let's
you
hear
ready?
it. Let's go.
I guess. I don't even know where to begin now. I feel like I'm gonna underwhelm.
Okay,
yours is
so
unique.
I'll ask you a question. Yours is
Listen, this is a love story.
Oh
gosh.
But like, okay, so let me start with a question and then you can kind of go from there.
Okay.
Had you heard of Halloween Horror Nights before you met me or had heard of my former podcast, The Scream Queens?
No, I did not.
You had never even heard of it?
No.
You lived in Florida?
Not one bit.
No, he lived in New Jersey.
I get that.
That's fair.
We had Fright Fest.
Yeah, he had Six Flags.
I had Six Flags.
Sorry.
To work
Okay, but that's Six Flags is pretty cool.
But
I've
he
never
is
been.
not- I don't want to speak for you, but like Eugene is not a horror movie person. The first time I showed him Trick or Treat, he made me keep the lights on.
Why you
And Trick or Treat is not a
Exposed.
jumpy movie at all. I'm sorry.
I mean, but listen, you said, "Oh, I want you to watch this movie that I really love," and I said, "Okay, cool." And I put it on, but you said it's a horror movie,
I mean, it is technically. It's a
and
scary movie.
it wasn't spooky. And then we turned the lights off, and I was fine.
He's lying.
Because the werewolf.
Okay, so then what was your first exposure to HHN?
You.
But how? How so?
You want like the full like?
I mean, in your words,
whole
like,
ass story, Eugene.
when did you hear about this?
Well, I heard about HHN through another podcast.
The Scream Queens,
The
my
Scream Queens.
former podcast.
Jess's former podcast, and I was like, "What's HHN?" And I started listening to it, and I heard little things. And I was like, "Oh, cool, spooky houses and stuff. I get it." And then Jess went on to explain it to me a little bit more. You know, when I was on the show and things like that, and they got really cool. And then she really hooked me when she said, "You know, there was a Marvel theme at one point, and there was also a Freddy versus Jason thing at one point."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Really? You think they'd ever bring it back?" She kind of broke my heart and said, "Never." So.
I'm not good at sugarcoating.
You never are. And then we found out together that there was like wrestling involved at one point.
Okay, so yeah, so
that's hilarious.
Eugene and his former co-host from his former podcast, they came on the Scream Queens and they were actually our first guests. And that's how Eugene and I met. And it wasn't even an HHN episode. It was a
Nightmare on
Elm Street episode where we ranked all the movies. So Eugene and I fell in love through podcasting, and because if you want to be with me, you gotta learn about HHN, pretty much. Because it's my obsession, it's my hyperfixation. So like I'm constantly talking about it, and then I don't think I knew you when it got postponed yet.
No, you didn't know me yet.
So in the postponement, like once I had met you and everything, I was explaining like, this is why I'm so upset that this thing isn't happening this year. And I was just sending you like playlists of walkthroughs.
Yeah.
Just playlists. Like, here's Graveyard Games. Here's my favorite house of all time. Watch it. Tell me what you think.
And since I've fallen in love with her, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch all of these. And I did. And I understood it because one thing with me is if you show me your fandom, I'm never going to go, ew, that's gross. Or I wouldn't get into it. I will respect your fandom. And I'll be like, oh, I'll find something in it I like. And I did. So once I actually got to come to
it was light.
It was light. It was the
Actually, let me ask you. So we were in New Jersey when they announced that HHN Light was going to happen. I was up there visiting you.
Yeah.
For like the first time, I believe.
Yeah, the first time ever.
And we'd met for the first time in person, and we were at the comic book store, your favorite comic book store, and they tweeted it. And I just started crying on the spot. Because we were getting something.
I thought it was because
in 2020.
I thought it was because I found my favorite Spider-Man issue. I thought she was really happy for me, but it was a really good issue. I told you.
I started tearing up, and then he was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, and we had already had a trip back to Orlando planned where he was going to come back and see my world because I was up in his world. And then they announced Light, and I was like, I get to show you two houses.
And lo and behold, the two houses, one of them I fell in love with, and it is my favorite house ever because it is the first house that my partner, now wife, took me through. And it was Bride of Frankenstein. And to see love and horror combined with the love of my life and watching it go like literally in front of my eyes is something I hold dear. And I know not that many people like that house, but to me,
people like
I'm
that.
growing up. This is
The
wrong
bar
with
is set
you.
so high right now.
Don't accept anything less, people. No, and then so much so that do you want to tell the rest of the story about like 30 and everything?
No, you have to.
I mean,
this is Eugene.
okay. We have to. We can split it. We can split it because it was a big thing.
So we stayed through all of Light. We were in Orlando.
Yeah.
Together.
Basically, the entire time through Light.
Then we went back to Jersey, and then we moved to Orlando. The summer before 30 happened. And what happened the opening weekend, Eugene?
So opening weekend.
It was your first full event.
My first full event. Everyone was talking me through everything. They were like, "Oh, it's different than Light. You got to get yourself prepared. You're gonna see,
it's more intense.
It's more intense. They're gonna get in your grill."
Well, we didn't know yet because the plexiglass or not. We weren't sure.
So I said, you know what? This shouldn't scare me. Let me do something a little bigger. Let me, go a little deeper out there. And I said, I'm gonna propose to the person that changed my life and made me a better person. So
at my favorite event.
At her favorite event, which I discussed with so many different people. I'm like, should I do it there? And they're all like, absolutely.
But it was also the event that like technically brought us together because Scream Queens was an HHN podcast.
It was.
So without HHN, we would have never met.
We would have never met. That and Freddy Krueger. We would have never met.
So yeah, he got down on one knee opening weekend of 30 in 30 Years, 30 Fears, right in front of the Albert Kane and all the little icons on that sign.
Mm-hmm. And
then
there's more.
There's more. And then
I think that the next weekend we were in line for it was one of the parade buildings. And we looked at each other and said, we should just elope at HHN.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need a big wedding.
We don't.
This is the thing that brought us together. All of our friends are here. And closing weekend, we literally got married at Sapphire, At Sapphire.
Yeah.
And then Jack the Clown did another mini ceremony in Lights, Camera, Action for us, actually. And here we are now.
Here we are. Duff was there.
Duff was there.
Duff was there.
Duff and Mary were there.
Duff and Mary were there.
Mary was the last person I saw before I walked to you to do our vows and everything. Mary walked me to you. It was very sweet. But yeah, I mean, literally, our tradition now every year is closing weekend. We get a hotel room and we just celebrate our anniversary.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
That is
so funny that you were like, "Oh, my story's not that exciting," and that was literally like the coolest story
I'm literally
I've ever
in
heard.
tears. I am in tears.
Love it. I mean,
so many people are swooning right now.
Well, I told you. I mean, you and HHN are just part of my life forever now, and I don't want to ever lose that.
So much so let me add on to it. I always said I was never going to get a tattoo with my partner. We have matching Bride and Frankenstein tattoos on our ring fingers.
That's such a good house too.
And our whole wedding was Bride and Frankenstein themed. He wore a monster shirt and the Bride of Frankenstein sneakers. All of it.
Because the Frankenstein ones were sold out. I was so upset.
So it was We're little HHN nerds.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
I married into it.
But why do you like HHN? I'm kidding. No, it's fine.
You want me to be honest?
I like that story better.
It's
I mean, do you want to answer? You look like you want to answer that question.
Yeah. I like HHN because it gave me something I thought I had lost before. It gave me more of a family, more friends, more people that, care about me and want me to enjoy the event as much as possible.
Where's Eugene? Eugene, are you having fun?
Yeah, I'm like the kid that you have to keep an eye on because I will wander off sometimes. So everybody has to be like, where's Eugene at? Where's he at? Oh, okay, he's right there in the back. Okay, cool.
The last 2 years when I've been fortunate enough to be able to do the media event, I have not had to worry about him because I know our friends will make sure they know where Eugene is.
Absolutely. And now that's Duff's responsibility now, even more than
Is it Duff's responsibility?
I do all right, I think.
Yeah, it's on Duff now. So if I get lost, you blame Duff.
He'll get lost.
Okay.
The keeper of the Eugene.
The keeper of the Eugene.
It's either Rachel or Duff, I guess.
Rachel or Duff. So somebody's got to do it.
Okay, so let me ask you then.
Okay.
Not bride. Besides bride, was there a moment or a house or a scare zone or anything where you like walked in and you were like, I understand why my now wife is so obsessed with this?
Graveyard.
Deadly Unrest?
Yes. I fully understood going through that. You know, like that whole Sound of Music thing where you see the woman, you know, going around. What's that movie?
Yeah, Sound of Music.
Or whatever.
Yeah, that is Sound of Music.
Sound of Music.
Did you just make a musical? Right?
Yes,
Oh my god!
Hello.
When I saw my wife go through that and just do the whole twirl thing, it was,
I was
so
spinning in Graveyard.
spinning and just
you can ask.
As one
Eugene,
should, as
anyone.
one
I was
should.
spinning.
And
Sorry, I was
I
spinning
get it.
too. I didn't see
I
you.
get it.
we were just in a circle.
Just lost in the wind. But yeah, I found that was my aha moment where I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I understand.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to be able to go to this event all the time now, especially with my wife. So
It's kind of funny because you went from light, not having to buy an HHN ticket, to your first year. I looked at you and said, "You're getting a frequent flyer with Express, and it's probably going to be a plus." I think I made him get plus. We didn't get ultimate, but he definitely got a plus his first year.
and now, so I've even got my friends who were in our wedding to be like, oh, we're coming back this year to do this, and oh, what's this about? Does Jess know
Oh yeah,
anything?
now
I'm
it's
like,
a
"Oh."
tradition. Now you have to go. The rest of your life, you can't just not.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no.
You are in
I'm
it
stuck.
for life.
I was gonna
You're
say
married
that
to me,
ring
you're-
means
I'm
every
committed.
year.
I'm
Yeah.
committed. You go to WrestleMania with me. you go to wrestling with me all the time.
I
so-
do, and that's the thing. That was the exchange. He showed me wrestling, and I showed him HHN.
Yeah, we got the wrestling reference.
Hey.
I like that we made everyone wait.
Oh,
just
but I
to cry.
haven't gotten.
Here's our
Literally.
HHN stories.
Aw.
Now people are just bawling.
About to copy and paste everything Eugene said and
Oh my
send it to my
God.
boyfriend and be like, "Hello."
Oh,
This
You are
is
not
the
allowed to tell Mary
standard.
the story in that way, by the way.
oh God.
Oh no, never.
Yeah, but it's
was
different. The way
there.
he said it's a little different. You know, it adds something.
I know.
He said something when he was talking about Bride and you and stuff. It was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I got very lucky with a partner who supports me because before him, I got called crazy by some exes for how much I loved HHN and got talked down to. So the fact that I found someone who like loves me for me and that I love this event like with my whole heart and accepts that
It's
means a
also so
lot.
fun though to like have someone that loves the event like you loved it first and then you show it to them and then they love it too, so you can just love it together. Like that's so fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, our whole house is covered in like HHN art and so I mean it's stuff that I collected but then we collected together, but like he fully just lets me
Us
like
too.
put up
We
whatever I
have,
want.
Like above our our cabinets, we have a little bit of space, and we have our posters up year round. We get like 1 or 2 posters every year, and we don't take them out of the plastic. We leave them in the plastic, and we just display them the whole year.
Yeah.
I
For
frame
sure.
my posters.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I have a whole wall of not all of Sterling's prints, but a decent amount of
Literally
them.
a whole wall.
because
the entire thing.
It yeah, and they're in year order like of the event.
Nice.
They sure are.
But no, like the thing was when Sterling started dropping them in the pandemic and Eugene and I started dating, he would just go and buy it before I could even look at it
Aw.
because he knew that I wanted it. So he would
Aw.
just like support that like fully. Same with like lounge flies or like anything Beetlejuice. Like he just was like, if you love it, I love it, and you're happy. And I mean, same, and that's why like we're going to WrestleMania in a couple days.
Yes, we
I
are.
absolutely love that.
Happy wife, happy life. I'll tell you that.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Smart man. Smart man.
Absolutely.
You guys give me faith in love.
Aw, I'm
hey.
glad because before I met him, I had none.
Aww.
I'm glad I found you though.
Everyone needs to find their HHN Scream
Ugh.
Squad.
That's the word.
No.
I was gonna say we had the
No.
sweetest episode of 365 ever, and then you ended it with that. So never mind.
Yeah, I ruined it. I
You
ruined
ruined
it.
it. You ruined the
ruined it.
whole
You
moment.
ruined it.
Listen,
Soiled it.
not to
Soiled it.
break, not to
Soiled
break
it.
the fourth wall, but Duff and I have now recorded 2 episodes tonight. So your girl is
Friday night. I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
sleeping until whenever the fuck my body says so.
It's okay. Must be nice.
Yeah.
I work in a hospital. I have to work
I'm sorry.
weekends.
Oh no.
I'm going to the park
Wow.
tomorrow to get
Oofa.
myself some a new HHN shirt, possibly. If they still have them, hopefully.
Sniff the
I
candle
will.
for me. I need to know if it's
Okay,
good.
so
I
I
need to know if
smelled
it's
it.
worth it.
Oh.
I smelled
Oh,
it, and
no.
it's not.
What'd you say, Jess? Go ahead. What did it smell
it?
like?
It smelled like soapy man.
What does soapy man
It
mean?
specifically smells like a soap that you have, which is why I said soapy man.
Oh, then it smells like Nivea?
No, it smells like I don't know how to describe
Does it smell? Okay. Does it smell like dad soap?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, the Buff City soap.
It smells like the Buff City. And like that's not bad, but that's not
Yeah.
hog. So no, I got the shirt.
You did? Aw.
That's what I said.
Wow, that was so disappointed.
You did?
I like the
Oh
shirt.
man,
Okay.
There's nothing
Listen,
wrong with that.
I like the shirt too.
I
I'll
like
tell you,
the
it's
blue.
it's nostalgic. I
Almost
think.
anytime we get an early release like merch or shirt, I have to buy it because
I'll
it's
buy
gonna be
it.
gone, and then I'm gonna
Yep.
wish that I bought it. So,
Mhm.
like when we got the Halloween announcement last year, I bought that shirt so fast, and I had so many people say, "Oh, where did you get your shirt?" And I was like, "It's gone now. Sorry."
I get it.
Yeah, no, I have to
It
get
was a flex.
Yeah, it really was.
It's a
That's
status
me with
symbol.
the
Especially
the black jean
Go ahead.
jacket for HHN from 30.
Mhm.
the reveal
That's-
shirt or the announcement shirt for Beetlejuice is the one that people always talk about
Mhm.
because they thought, oh, it's gonna come back again. That was
Yep.
the good Beetlejuice shirt. It was literally the only good Beetlejuice shirt they made, and I know a lot of people are
Yep.
not happy that they did not buy it then. So I get the logic.
I'm gonna
For
buy
sure.
it. Yeah,
Mhm.
pretty much. It could look like anything, and I would still be there, ready to buy it.
I already hoard enough as is though, so I
Yeah.
really need to not do that.
I also feel that I have my 21 shirts still, so they just keep piling up. I just kind of have like a quarter of my closet. It just keeps getting
Mhm.
like bigger and bigger and bigger, and they stay out year round. Like I don't put them away. I wear them year round.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Same. I wear mine when I'm like at the grocery
Same.
store.
It's hilarious
Yeah.
because every time I go into Publix, I'm in a different HHN shirt. And I said to my husband, I was like, these people must think I'm so crazy because I have a different one every single time. It's just like come home from work and I put on an HHN shirt. Always.
It's my go-to. It's
Don't
a
see the issue.
HHN shirt and biker shorts. That's what Nikki's closet is.
Yep.
That's
It's your
literally my wardrobe.
It's your emotional support shirt.
This is your fault.
This is my fault.
Sometimes we put on the same shirt. I'm like, who's changing?
Well, and like that's the thing. I used to buy a shirt and then he would buy it, and I'm like, why did we buy it? We were the same size, so now we share.
But
that's
that's
in
share
the
too.
beginning,
It's
we
the
didn't.
same thing. So I can justify buying it if we can both wear it. So it's fine.
Exactly.
Ah.
So, but like the other negative is like not a negative, but if you branch out beyond like just HHN Orlando,
Yeah.
you have to get a shirt. So like when I go to Knott's now, I have to get a shirt, and I got what 2 shirts or 3 shirts last time. Like
Yeah,
I
until
can't
we
stop
show
myself.
up at Universal in the
Mhm.
same shirt and it's too late.
yeah, it's real funny when it's a Knott's shirt too, and we're like, come on. When we checked out at Knott's last year, we looked at each other, and in our hands were the exact same items, besides
we
like
don't
one
love
thing.
Dark Ride or anything.
No, we just looked at each other and we were like, we know why we're on the same show, and just kind of
That was the
over to
moment.
register. I totally get it. And then if you make HHN merch on top of it, you'll just
that's
have even
guaranteed
more
same
shirts
clothing.
now.
Yeah. But at least now we have like 30 shirts of the
Yeah.
same instead of like 10.
That's fair, actually. I think this season I am gonna just be like, hey, by the way, this
Everybody
is what I'm
That'd be a
matches.
good
wearing.
idea. Yeah,
Then the fit in the group chat before.
we need to.
Really, and once like now with Jonathan too, it's gonna be even worse. All gonna
Yeah,
have
we're
the same
definitely
shirts.
updating the group chat.
One of these days, what you guys need to do is everybody agrees to dress exactly the same as a different person in the group. For example, like, oh, okay, hey, what's so and so wearing? Okay, we're all gonna wear that to copy so and so. Okay, now we're all gonna wear this to copy so and so, and just keep going.
The issue is that
Keep
happens
going in a
naturally.
circle.
Yeah, we dress the same anyway.
Yeah.
Nikki and I don't plan it.
Literally. It's just, it happens. We just show up.
Great minds think alike.
Now, if Duff wants to wear a green and purple wig, I'm down for that.
I want to see it.
Do it.
I'd do it. Why not?
Same.
I'd dye my hair. If
I know.
I mean,
It'll
I
be
could.
fun.
I mean, you could.
You could.
They don't care.
Anyways, I think that's the end of the episode. So before we wrap it up, of course, one more time, we got to go back and thank our guests so much for joining us. It was a really fun episode. So we'll start with Natalie because the concept, loved it. I loved hearing everyone's stories. So Natalie, just remind everyone where they can find you, anything you're doing specifically, of course, counting HHN down.
Yeah. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, I am once again at CountdownHHN. I count down every day to Halloween Horror Nights opening date and post memes and just, talk.
Yep. I mean, yeah, that's social media, I guess. I don't do it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really do that, but I'm happy that some people enjoy it that way. Yes. And then Allie and Nikki, where can the people find you? Feel free to do personal.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for having us, guys. We had a really great time talking about some of our old HHN introductions. But Nikki, where can they find us?
You can find us on Twitter at HauntGirlsPod and also on Instagram at HauntGirlsPodcast. If you want our personals, they're on our Twitter. So if you want to grab them from there from the bio.
If not, Allie Bendis _7. It's gonna be easier to go to the bio. Trust me.
I was gonna say my last name's a doozy, so I would just go to the bio.
And, I said it a little bit before, but we are a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and pretty much any other podcast streaming service. We try to post weekly, so make sure to listen.
Sometimes 2 times weekly.
Sometimes we'll see.
Sometimes.
Stepping it up. We try not to do that.
Yeah.
We're lazy. And then Eugene.
Well, if you want to follow my wrestling podcast that I do weekly, you can follow us on Twitter at Wrestling Normal and on Instagram at New Normal Wrestling. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to follow me personally on Twitter, it's at Wade Ilson.
All right. Jess, anything before we head out that you want to say? Or are you still crying from the story?
I am.
No. I'm not crying. I'm crying because we didn't bring up Grease 2. There it is.
No.
No, I'm just glad you all came and joined us for this. This was good fun.
This was an absolute blast. Thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure. And it's been so long since we have guests. It was so nice. It's not just I don't have to talk to you.
Oh my god.
I mean,
wow.
Ooh.
That's so rude. I'll remember that.
See you in the streets.